It was my 33rd birthday. I'd been sitting at home alone, requesting that people RSVP to join the awesome party. Yay! I invited the entire block and nobody showed up. I'd placed settings on the dining room table for 20 people. There were balloons, streamers, and a delicious birthday cake with Happy Birthday Remus written in beautiful icing by the hot Publix grandma. Well, I'd sat there alone for the entire evening, sipping my diet right out of a straw, folding napkins to resemble birds. Tweet, tweet, tweet. Then I heard a knock at my door. A visitor! Finally, a guest to my party? Yay! Oh, I opened the door only to see a very angry and disheveled mailman driving away in the rain at 11:30 p.m. But a package for me? Oh my god, a gift. It made me just want to sing mail, 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 mail. Oh well, I picked it up. Well, what the fuck could it be? A VHS? It was shaped like a VHS, smelled like a VHS, and when I unwrapped the goddamn paper, it was very well a fucking VHS video harboring systems tape. Well, whoop-de-fucking-do! Thanks for the dated technology. But this VHS seemed a little strange. There was a picture of Woody Woodpecker on the cover with the caption, "Hope you had a good one, friendo!" Well, Woody looked a little insane on the cover, despondent even. Now, I always liked Woody Woodpecker as a kid, but it had been years since I'd put the program on. We didn't have many TV shows in West Virginia, where I was born and raised. "Put the tape on," the voice whispered. It may have been my degenerating mental health talking. See, there's some fluid in the ears that generates voices, and when you spend too much time alone, the fluid in your ears starts moving on its own to tell you things, because it has nothing else to do. Ah, the magic secrets of life. I noticed there were some cat bones laying out on the sidewalk in the shape of an X, but I didn't make any notice of it, since it reminded me of my neighbor who had a cat named Chesterton who he regularly had sex with. He told me about it. I told him I didn't want anything to do with that, but he still told me this stupid shit. Anyway, that's not why I'm telling you guys this. I pulled the VHS out of its slipcase. This thing must have been several decades old. I was highly concerned about the quality and fidelity of this video harboring systems program, because I myself had to view everything in HD at 220 ppi megapixels in HD. I didn't work for 20 goddamn years to view lackluster HD, goddammit. I'm a modern man. Well, fuck it, I snapped into a Twix bar. I had nothing left to say or do, so I popped the video harboring systems tape into its proper player. Oh, good lord. Cutting up the background in a very violent manner. Guess who? His trademark laugh seemed a little more insane. The name of this episode was Mr. Pecker Loses His Cool. The fuck is this? A Becker lost episode or Woody Woodpecker? Whatever. The bizarre Mr. Pecker was shown wandering into a supermarket. I am fucking insane! He started poking people with pins. Oh, what the fuck? Why? You see a family arguing about what to eat for dinner when Mr. Pecker, as he was now known, I guess, pokes them. Ah! The woman screams. Woody Woodpecker empties his comedic pockets out, dropping anvils, forks, knives, a comedic bomb, quote-unquote, which didn't look very funny, a sledgehammer, used Q-tips, penny, lint, tons of lint. How do you like the prank? He giggles. It wasn't a prank! Woody Woodpecker picks up the sledgehammer and slams it into the woman's legs, knocking her over and shattering her kneecaps while people scream. The fuck? All of a sudden, I thought I heard something at my window. It looked like wings or two pairs of glowing eyes. Well, I must have just been paranoid. I continue watching this great program. My favorite show of all time, Woody Woodpecker. Woody Woodpecker snickered as blood poured from the woman's head. Fuck snickering. I was eating a Twix bar. Clean up in aisle 9, he giggled. He strolls over to the aisle that is pest control products and picks up several cans of Raid. An old woman walks up to him. Oh, you're going to kill insects with that? Yes, he giggles, and he laughs again. He sprays the entire can of Raid into the woman's mouth until she rolls over and chokes to death on her own tongue. Okay, then. Oh, fuck. He draws comedic X's on her eyes with a black marker, though she's clearly actually dead, and the art is highly realistic. Woody, Mr. Pecker, runs from the location into the hardware department of the supermarket. Could you help me out? A mustached man smiled. Woody just stared, squinting. I'm trying to figure out something to write on this board. You're a woodpecker, aren't you? The man had a German accent. Woody smiled and pecked the wood. He pecked the woods, "You're a fucking asshole," and pecked one of the corners to be extra sharp. The man made a horrified face as Woody picked up the sharp edge and stabbed him in the head with it. Blood and Skittles poured from the wound, the very candy I was eating at this point. Am I creeping you out? The voice whispered. Oh, yeah. Well, now I knew someone was watching me. And it wasn't turning me on. I went over to the curtains and leered out the window. I saw something that was taller than an average bear or man stumble into some garbage cans into the alley near my house. Low-income living. I figured it was just a stray cat. Possibly Chesterton, and possibly walking funny for obvious reasons, but I just went back to my enjoyable video harboring systems program. Woody Woodpecker strolled down the dairy aisle while people screamed in horror at all of the violent bloodshed. One person ran by hysterically as Woody smiled. He lined a little bit to the left, stabbed the person in the throat with his razor-sharp beak. I'm a real prankster, he giggled, opened the beak, ripping the person in two like delicious mozzarella cheese dough sticks. Oh, a real prankster indeed. The police arrived. Woody ran into the back of the hardware store. You'll never take me alive, copper! Drop the weapon, Woodpecker. It seemed like more of a modern police procedure than this program usually allotted. Okay! Woody did drop the weapon. He ripped his beak off violently while blood, feathers flew everywhere. The body screamed in tremulous horror. Blood, gore, terrible, terrible scene. Woody screamed as he rended his own flesh from his body. Underneath the bloody mouth hole was a pair of smiling teeth that shittered with a long serpent-like tongue. A deep and powerful metaphor for Satan. His eyes looked fuzzier and more moth-like now. He threw his disconnected beak at a random man running by as it impaled him and he fell dead on the floor. Woody strolled across the canned soda aisle while the police fired at him. Their shots caused all of the soda to explode and hit Woody, who continued to stroll his bloody and injured body across the supermarket aisle. Woody's skin began to slip off as he grew about 2 feet in height. He laughed, his trademark laugh, but it was deeper and more sinister. His real arm slid from underneath his beak-like claws that grabbed one of the police officers and snapped his neck in 2 seconds. Mr. Pecker sprouted wings and exploded as my VHS tape player cracked, popped, and eventually fell to the floor. I could hear the tape popping violently as it rewinded on its own, extremely fast. It fell on its side. I went over to see if there was anything wrong with the video harboring systems player, but it had broken and landed on both my PS4 and Xbone, breaking both consoles in the process. What a dick move. I began to choke on my skitwicks as I heard a rustling in the trees behind my yard. No, Chesterton! Leave that shit to your master! Now I knew something was up. No homeless man would spend this much time in my yard without requesting change, and whoever that was had better damn well explain himself. He was on my fucking property, and I own a gun. I went over to the kitchen and turned on the water to wash the chocolate off of my hands. I heard chittering, and I peeked out the window. Someone had knocked my garbage cans over, and also my pants were on the lawn, ripped at the seams around the crotch. That did make me slightly horny, but what the fuck? I ran into the bedroom to see the lock on the windowsill had been jimmied open using what looked like a beak-shaped apparatus, which was nowhere to be found. What the fuck is this? Like one of those Zelda puzzles where you dick around with the owl's beak? This is crazy. My clothing drawer had been jostled open, and a long trail of clothing led over to the shed where I kept my tools. Okay, I never used the tools. Let's talk about my dick. I simply liked watching Home Improvement and pretending I was on tool time alone in there on weekends, I confess. I was sick of these fucking mind games. You want to play crosswords? Pictionary? Here's some Sudoku for you, motherfucker! I pulled out a loaded rifle my Uncle Remus had given me for just such an emergency, and I was prepared to stand my ground. I stormed out onto the lawn, toting my massive gun, which I'd never loaded or used. Come a little closer, the voice whispered. Oh, I did. I came a little closer and closer. I got right near the shed as I saw the tools hanging in a place where someone could easily knock a sledgehammer onto my head. I leered over at the trees, horrified. Something had carved a message in them with its beak. And by a message, I mean a wooden cock. Oh, Jesus Christ. Stand under the tools, a voice whispered. I started to stroll toward the tools before realizing it could have been a trap. I stood far away from the tools as someone shook the shed, and the tools fell, cracking the floor. It shattered a festive melon I kept near the tool shed. I guess you could say you really got ahead in life. Ahead. The voice said. I think the figure, whatever it was, thought that was my head. I yelled, pulled out the rifle, and prepared to stand my ground. It was a massive bird-like woodpecker creature with claws, moth wings, violent chittering teeth. It looked exactly like the Mr. Pecker in the cartoon, except it had a birthday hat on. Someone fucking showed up. It leered up like the fires from hell and smiled at me. I pulled the trigger on the rifle as a tiny pop was heard. Okay, I admit, it was a BB gun. The tiny BB barely pierced the skin of the creature, which picked up its meaty claws and ripped my pants off. Oh, you might think that that's very erotic, but I'll tell you something, it wasn't. At all. That's disgusting. What the hell's wrong with you? Well, I'll tell you what the hell's wrong with me. It ripped off my cock, and it replaced it with a wooden cock it had carved out of the trees. Now who's the woodpecker? I just screamed out of pain and anguish at my missing pecker and wooden apparatus. Happy birthday, a voice said, throwing confetti. The creature tap-danced off into the pale moonlight, knocking over garbage cans, throwing handfuls of Skittles, and being a general dick to everyone, including the trees. What an asshole. They say if you listen late at night, you can hear him at your bedroom window, threatening to rip your cock off and replace it with the wooden one. Watch out and taste the rainbow.